I didn't come here to save a life. I came to forget mine. The rain soaked through my hoodie and jeans before I even stepped past the rusted gates of the auction lot. Mud clung to my boots like dead weight. My breath fogged in the cold spring. Air, sharp with the tang of rust, wet hay, and something deeper, something like fear, or maybe grief. I couldn't tell the difference anymore. Crowds of flannel jackets and hollow stares moved around me, murmuring bids and gossip, their hands stuffed in pockets or waving paddles like they were flicking away flies. A man coughed behind me, harsh and guttural, the sound wet and heavy in the mist. I kept walking. Cages lined the lot, one after another, some dogs pacing anxiously, others curled in corners, eyes dim. Most looked like they hadn't known a soft bed in years, or kindness. And then I saw her, not pacing, not curled, just still. A German shepherd, thin, trembling, her coat patchy with old wounds and new. One eye cloudy, the other locked. On me. It was like she saw me, not in that sweet doggy way, but in a way that made something shift in my chest. Like I wasn't invisible anymore. She didn't bark. She didn't move. She just watched me. I couldn't look away. Backstory. Setup, 400 to 1,000 words. It had been 8 months since Lily died. 8 months since my world split like glass under pressure, and I became someone else, someone quieter, heavier. I left the city, left my job, packed everything I owned into my car and drove until the grief blurred into road signs and static. Ended up here, Middlebrook, a nothing town wrapped in cornfields and half-closed diners. I rented a cottage at the edge of town, the kind with crooked stairs and a leaky faucet. No neighbors close enough to talk. Just the way I wanted it. I work 3 days a week at a veterinary clinic, cleaning kennels and restocking meds. It doesn't pay much, but it keeps my hands busy. And Dr. Holbrook doesn't ask questions. He's a quiet man, eyes like boiled coffee. He gave me the job when I showed up with no resume and too many shadows under my eyes. I don't talk much. People in town have noticed, I'm sure. I'm the girl who walks with her hood up even when it's sunny. The girl who flinches at loud noises. The one who never mentions family. Because what do you say when your little sister dies and you're... The reason? Inciting incident. 1,000, 1,500 words. The auctioneer's voice cracked through the static speckled loudspeaker. Next up, Lot 46. Female German Shepherd, service-trained, failed psych eval. No handler claims, starting at $20, $20. A few heads turned. Some laughed. She's broken, someone muttered. More like haunted, said another. The shepherd didn't move, didn't twitch an ear, just stared at me. I stepped forward before I even realized what I was doing. 20, I said. The auctioneer blinked. We got 20. Anyone for 30? Silence. Sold. Lot 46. $20. Someone clapped, slow and sarcastic. I ignored them. My boots squelched as I walked toward the cage. The man handing her off looked relieved, like I'd just taken a ticking bomb off his hands. You sure you want this one, sweetheart? She won't eat, won't respond, just stands around like a statue. I crouched beside her cage. What's her name? He shrugged. She doesn't have one, far as we know. Old Chip's nearly unreadable. Something military. Was part of a program upstate. Shut down years ago. Rumors say she's got PTSD or worse. The door creaked open. The shepherd stepped out on her own. No coaxing, no leash. She walked straight to me and sat, like she'd been waiting. I loaded her into the back seat of my car. She didn't resist. Didn't make a sound the whole drive home. Dr. Halbrook came over that evening when I called. He scanned her chip and frowned. It's degraded. Name says Echo or something close. The rest's scrambled. Military ID. Her teeth are worn. She's older than she looks. He checked her scars, her eye, her heart. She shouldn't be alive, honestly, he said quietly. She's not aggressive, but she's not... Normal. Be careful. That night, I opened the front door to let her in. She stood on the porch and didn't budge. I tried calling her. Come on, girl, inside. Nothing, until something inside me stirred, like a memory that wasn't mine. I whispered, Heim. She walked in. Mini cliffhanger, first emotional hook, 1,500, 2,200 words. She wouldn't sleep. Not at her bed in the kitchen. Not on the mat I placed by the heater. Every night, as the wind rattled the windows and the silence grew heavy, she stood guard outside my bedroom door, silent, still, watching. But not me. The door. I ignored it the first 2 nights. Maybe it was. Habit from her training. Maybe she was protecting me. But on the 3rd night, I noticed her ears pin back every time I stepped near the closet inside that room. The door creaked when I opened it. Empty. Old coats. A box of winter boots. A dusty shelf. But Echo, yes, that's what I called her now, lowered her head and growled, low. Warning, not at me, but at the dark. I stepped back. In the morning, I found deep scratches inside the closet door. Long and deliberate. As if something had been clawing its way out. I don't know why I touched them. But the second my fingers brushed the grooves, Echo let out a soft whimper. That night, I dreamed of Lily. She was sitting on her bed, cradling a small recorder in her lap, smiling, and at her feet. Echo. Only she looked younger, healthier, whole. She stared at me in the dream, too, same way she had at the auction, like she knew me. April 17th, I've started journaling again. Not about me, about her Echo. It's easier to write about her than think about what she's doing, or what she knows. The first strange thing was the piano. It sits against the far wall in the living room, covered in dust and silence. I hadn't touched it since Lily died. She was the one who played, wrote songs, taped the keys with color-coded stickers for me when I was 6 and clumsy. Last week I sat at the bench on a whim, or maybe because Echo hadn't eaten in 2 days. Her food bowl remained full. She wasn't sick. She just waited. I played the only song I could still remember. Lily's song. The melody was simple. Just 8 bars. She wrote it in high school and used to hum it while brushing her hair. The moment the first notes filled the room, Echo padded into the kitchen. She ate everything, cleaned the bowl, sat, waited. I played it again. She licked her paw, curled near the heater, and fell asleep for the first time since she arrived. I should have felt peace. I felt watched. 2 nights later, I found the paper. It was folded tight and tucked beneath Echo's old collar tag, which I'd removed and left on the dresser. The paper was stiff, yellowed at the corners. It looked like it had been through fire, or someone tried to erase it. All that remained were these words. M7 observation. Failure contained but responsive. Memory loop suspected. Do not attempt correction. M7I. Remembered the vet, Halbrook, mentioning that name once? He'd said some facility closed after testing limits no one should have tested. I texted him a picture of the note. He called me an hour later. Where'd you find this? In her old collar, I said. What is M7? Silence. Nothing. Official, he finally said. A behavioral branch, military canine co-development. Shut down after funding got cut. Off the record, they were studying memory retention, not just in terms of training, but emotional memory. Pattern integration. A few dogs went rogue. One incident made the rounds in my circles. Dog attacked its handler when shown an old photo. No trigger. Just recognition. He paused. Why? I looked down. Echo was sitting by the window watching. Her reflection. No reason, I said. First big twist. 2,900, 3,300 words, April 20th. The rain came back tonight. The same sick drizzle from the auction. Same sky, low and heavy, pressing down like a warning. I hadn't stepped inside Lily's room since the day I sealed it. Not once. Echo pawed at the door last week, then again 2 days later. Tonight she howled at it. I ran upstairs to stop her, heart thundering, and watched as her paws tore the lock off with one precise snap, like she knew the weak point. The door creaked open. I didn't want to look, but I did. The room smelled faintly of rose lotion and dust. The old comforter lay smooth on the bed, just as I'd left it. But something was wrong. There were objects on the desk that didn't belong. Not mine. Not Lily's. A service badge I'd never seen. Faded, scratched, marked with an insignia I didn't recognize. A child's voice recorder, yellow plastic, one speaker cracked. The kind you give to toddlers. And a dog tag, but not Echo's. This one read, Valor, 7817G, Tier 3, property of M7. Behavioral unit. I pressed play on the recorder with trembling hands. At first, just static. Then, her voice. Lily. Echo. Stay with me. Don't let them take it. Don't forget me. The rest was garbled, a sound like a door slamming, barking, crying. I sank to the floor. Echo lay beside me and whined softly, pressing her muzzle to my palm. Deepening mystery. 3,300, 3,900 words. April 22nd, it's all coming back now. Lily and her obsession with dogs, specifically ex-service dogs. She'd spend hours reading forums, watching training videos. Said they carried stories no one listened to. Thought they were like soldiers without medals, just wounds. In her senior year, she applied for a volunteer internship at a place she wouldn't name. Said it was off the books. Said she saw things there. Her last email to me was short. They're implanting more than commands now. Emotion, memory. We went too far. I thought she was being dramatic. She was 17, grieving the loss of our father, trying to find purpose. But now, I'm not so sure. I searched her old laptop, still buried under her bed. Most of it was corrupted, except a folder marked Do, Not Delete. Inside, email chains with someone named Dr. I. Linden, behavioral neuroscientist. The subject lines were vague: testing phase 3, retention timeline, e-pattern mapping. But one line struck me like ice in the chest. We accidentally gave them too much. They don't just remember commands now. They remember moments. They grieve. They bond. And some loop. I closed the laptop. I couldn't breathe. That night I dreamed again. Not of Lily. Of something else. A sterile hallway. A whimpering child. Behind glass. Electrodes. A figure on the floor. A dog, Echo, standing outside the room. Watching. April 24th. She responds to the word remember. Not just with alertness, with focus. Like she's searching. I tested it, played Lily's melody on the piano. Echo sat still. Then I whispered, remember. She barked, once, and turned toward the sealed attic door. There's nothing up there, just insulation. Cobwebs, or maybe I'm wrong. Mini cliffhanger, 3,900 to 4,500 words. April 25th. Today, I drove to the old M7 facility, took a back road out near the ridge line. Past where the forest thickens and the GPS fails. The building wasn't there anymore. Just cracked cement, overgrown vines, and a rusted signpost with bullet holes. Echo jumped from the car before I opened the door. She ran straight to the rubble, nose, low, ears back, digging. I followed her. She unearthed a toy, plastic, cracked, bright blue elephant, Lily's favorite. She used to carry it everywhere when we were kids, until she gave it to her favorite dog. She never told me who that was. Echo dropped it at my feet and sat. I was shaking too hard to pick it up. On the way back, I stopped for gas. An old man, on the bench near the pumps, stared at Echo for a long time. He had a faded tattoo on his wrist. Military. Maybe Navy. Maybe airborne. I couldn't tell. You know that dog? He asked. I hesitated. She's mine. He shook his head slowly. No, she's not. What do you mean? He leaned forward, eyes cloudy with something deeper than age. That dog died in 2020, he whispered. I saw the report myself. M7 had a break. They said she went feral, but they lied. She wasn't feral. She remembered too much. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. He looked straight at Echo and raised 2 fingers to his brow. A salute. Echo did nothing, just watched him. That night, I sat in front of the broken mirror upstairs, the one Lily used to use. My reflection stared back, and for a moment, just a blink, Lily's face appeared beside mine, and Echo, sitting behind us, watched her, not me, her. April 26th. I didn't know there was a storm cellar on the property, not until Echo found it. She led me past the hedgerow, past the rusted fence where Lily once hung dream catchers, past the edge of what we used to call the wishing trees. I nearly didn't follow her. I was still shaking from the reflection. Still hearing Lily's voice on the recorder, but Echo didn't hesitate. She stopped near a patch of earth, thicker grass, oddly smooth. She began to dig, and there it was, a half-buried trapdoor, iron, heavy, rusted shut with bolts. It took me hours to pry it open. Inside, the sharp scent of rot and time, a ladder leading down into shadow. I should have called someone. Instead, I climbed. The storm cellar wasn't natural, not old and dusty with broken mason jars like I expected. It was structured, lined, in black tile, steel mesh. Sealed crates stacked wall to wall. Most were empty, but 2 in the back corner remained untouched, taped shut and labeled in faded red ink. M7, Canine Companion. Trials authorized access only. I opened the first box with a crowbar. Inside, files. Stacks of them. Photos, charts, recordings. Most had yellow hazard stickers marked ERT. Emotion Reinforcement Therapy. They were experimenting with bonding, using children, using music, using dogs. One file chilled me more than the rest. It described something called mimetic bleed. It was typed clinically, but the details bled through, like a scream behind glass. Subject Echo, Tier 3, displays recursive behaviors post-child separation. High empathy bonding resulted in involuntary retention of emotional states. Symptoms include refusal to eat, memory-triggered fixation, and environmental anchoring, e.g., responding only to associated sensory triggers, voice, melody, scent. Trial suspended after 2 handlers reported hallucinations consistent with subjects' trauma patterns. Investigation pending. M7 board terminated Canine Human ERT program due to instability in memory containment and high risk of identity echoing. Identity echoing. The same word appeared on 4 other pages, circled in ink. Identity. Echo. Resonance. Like her name was never just a name. At the bottom of the second box, I found a photo. It was old, Polaroid style, grainy. My sister, Lily, maybe 9 years old. She was kneeling beside a younger Echo, and beside them, another. Dog, bigger, dark fur. His tag was just visible. Valor. She was part of it, even back then. But that wasn't the worst part. Attached to the back of the photo, folded once, was a journal page, torn from one of Lily's old spiral notebooks, her handwriting, loopy, half-cursive. Mom doesn't know, but I signed Echo up. They said she'd help kids like me, like I used to be. I know she's safe with me, but I think if she helps others, maybe that'll make up for what I did. Maybe if I do this, my sister won't hate me anymore. Maybe I'll finally be worth something. My throat closed. What had she done that made her think she needed to make it up to me? I clutched the paper to my chest, and I cried in that dark place. Echo rested her head on my knee. Emotional and mystery climax. 5,700 words. April 27th. Know the story now. I see it all, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Lily had Echo first. She trained her, loved her. Then she volunteered her, not out of cruelty, not ambition, but guilt. Guilt for something I can't remember, or maybe won't. Admit she believed Echo would help other children. She believed she was doing good, but something went wrong. The M7 facility had a containment breach. The files are vague, but the timeline is clear. Lily was there, so was Echo. And something happened. An event redacted across every page except one where someone scrawled in pen, "Child intervened, broke containment, shielded the subject." It wasn't some handler who saved Echo. It was my sister. She died there, protecting Echo and Echo. Saw it. Lived it again and again, because she wasn't just trained, she was imprinted. Everything makes sense now. Her refusal to eat unless she heard Lily's song, the way she watched Lily's door, the strange behaviors, the memory loops, the fixation. She isn't guarding the house, she's reliving it. Lily's death imprinted on her like an eternal scar, and somehow, through scent, voice, me, the bond transferred. Echo thinks I'm Lily. Or maybe she doesn't care. Maybe her loyalty isn't tied to a face or a voice. Maybe it's emotion itself. Love, guilt, loss. That's what she was trained to feel, and she never stopped feeling it. I walked into Lily's room today, sat on the edge of her bed. Echo followed and laid her head on my lap. I whispered the words from the recorder. Echo. Stay with me. She closed her eyes. I think, for a moment, she believed it. Pre-climax cliffhanger, 5,700, 6,000 words. April 28th, 3:09. AM, the power just went out. Storm rolled in like a beast on its belly, snapping trees, screaming through the eaves. Candles are everywhere. The house feels like it's holding its breath. Echo started barking again, at Lily's door, low, deep, urgent. She won't stop. I tried to calm her, but her eyes locked on the door like it was bleeding light, like something was coming through. I'm shaking. I don't know what else to do. So I sat at the piano, lit the last candle, and I played Lily's song, every note trembling through the house like a whisper through a grave. Echo curled beside me, quivering. And then the house shook. A wind tore through the hallway, though every window was sealed. The door creaked open. Then the closet flew wide, and out stumbled a shape, a dog. Old wheezing, collar barely clinging to his neck, valor covered. In dust, ribs showing, his legs shaking, but alive. How long had he been in there? How did he get there? Echo stood. They stared at each other, and then, like some unspoken agreement passed between them, Echo whined softly and licked his muzzle. He licked her back. I fell to my knees, then black. April 28th, 3:15, and the world went black after Valor stumbled out of the closet. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might burst through my chest. Echo stayed close, nudging Valor gently with her nose. Valor's eyes flickered, clouded with pain, but alive. I could smell the damp earth clinging to him, old wounds crusted with dust and dry blood. I lit the candles again. The flickering flames cast giant shadows on the walls. Valor was trembling, like a leaf caught in a storm. I knelt beside him, whispering soft words I barely believed. "How long have you been there, old boy?" Echo's gaze never left Valor. She stood protectively between him and the door. Then I noticed something. Valor's collar. The tag was worn, but the engraving was still clear. Valor, M7 unit. I remembered the files, the journal, the photo. They were together, Echo and Valor, two dogs trapped in a nightmare that spanned years. The storm roared outside like the echo of old ghosts. April 28th, 3:45 AMI. Wrapped Valor in a blanket and helped him to the couch. Echo settled beside him, her head resting on his side. They seemed to find some comfort in each other's presence, two souls scarred by the same invisible wounds. I couldn't stop trembling. I sat down, heart hammering, eyes wide. What was I supposed to do now? The house was quiet except for the rain tapping against the window panes. Then I heard it, the faintest sound coming from Lily's room, a whisper, soft, like a breeze through dead leaves. Remember? I froze. Echo's ears perked up. I didn't want to go in, but something pulled me forward. April 28th, 4:10, AMI opened Lily's door. The room was bathed in moonlight filtering through the curtains. The old piano stood silent in the corner. I stepped inside. Echo followed, walking slowly. Then I saw it. A small music box on Lily's desk. It was open. The delicate tune I'd played earlier drifted through the air on its own. I hadn't wound it. A chill ran down my spine. The room felt alive, as if Lily was there. Suddenly, Valor whined softly. Echo growled low. They both stared at the far corner of the room. I followed their gaze. There, shimmering faintly in the moonlight, was a holographic image, flickering, distorted, but unmistakable. It was Lily. Her eyes were wide, scared. Her voice crackled softly through the air. Echo, you have to remember. Protect her. Protect me. They can't take this away. The image faded, leaving behind an echo, both sound and feeling. I sank to the floor, tears streaming. Echo licked my cheek. April 28th, 4:45. AMI finally understood. Lily's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a sacrifice, a shield between me and something dark, something still lurking. Echo and Valor weren't just dogs, they were guardians, bound to Lily's love and pain, bound to protect me. I looked at Echo and Valor, two damaged souls who had survived hell, and somehow, in that survival, found each other. And me. April 29th. The morning came quiet. No storm, no shadows, just sunlight spilling through the windows. Echo lay curled at my feet. Valor rested on the couch, eyes closed but peaceful. I sat at the piano and played Lily's song. Softly, slowly, echoes. Eyes glistened with something new. Trust, peace. I knew the road ahead would be long, that the memories we carried would never fully fade. But for the first time, I felt hope. Hope that love, even when fractured, could heal. April 30th, I'm writing. This now because I have to. Because the story isn't over. Because Echo just woke up growling at the empty hallway. Because sometimes when I look in the mirror, I swear I see Lily's reflection standing right behind me, watching, waiting. But whatever comes next, I'm not afraid. Not while Echo and Valor stand with me, because some bonds don't break, they echo forever. End of story.